Hello everyone, what's up? Our September Community Spotlight features 4 really diverse models, both in terms of materials and styles. We have a 3D printed half-track, a huge resin monstrosity, a plastic Star Wars speeder, and a set of creepy resin robots. What more can you ask for? Like myself, Jake has a soft spot for models which are a cross between Warhammer 40k and real World War II vehicles. Also like myself, he likes combining painting and weathering techniques from both worlds, which I believe he has done to great effect here. This Grim 251 is a new design by Brian at Grim Prints, and I must say it looks amazing. But back to Jake's work. He explains that this was the first time that he used a hairspray technique in years. Well, given the results, especially around the engine bay, I would say, I think that was an excellent choice. A comment that Jake made that really resonated with me was that he was trying to find the happy medium of time between spending so much time on a model versus getting the models on the table for Warhammer 40k or for bolt action. I think this happy medium is what a lot of wargamers struggle with, myself included. Once you learn how to weather your models, it's really difficult to go back, but there's no denying that the time investment required for that is very considerable. For me, the best thing in this project is Jake's use of chipping. It's so easy to overdo hairspray chipping and have the paint come off in big flakes. That's happened to me many times. In my opinion, you have the perfect balance here, Jake. My only suggestion would be to try and increase the contrast or detail in the tires, which look a bit too similar in tone to the tracks in my opinion. Anyway, amazing work, Jake, and I hope to see more models from you in coming months. This is Lee's second Spotlight entry to date after an excellent Spitfire back in May, which had been her first foray into scale models. Yes, that's right, the one she did before was a Spitfire and now it's a mega Grot tank, with which Lee comes back to her greenskin roots, so to speak. And I think you will agree with me that this looks really awesome. When I asked her what the main challenge had been in this project, Lee explained that in the past she'd had, and I quote, issues with chipping fluid over resin and the paint coming off, and that as a result, she had opted here for the Tamiya paints that I'm always talking about. Well, Lee, I hope your great results here encourage others to follow suit and try as well. One particular comment that Lee made that I found really insightful was that she found, and I quote, that chipping had created an easily discernible roadmap to help point towards a more organic weathering process. She added that this made it a lot more fun for her, even if the later stages covered up some of the chipping. Indeedly, I couldn't agree more. Now, my favorite aspect in Lee's build is how bold and original the entire painting and weathering concept is. Not only does this huge vehicle have what I think must be a rather rare paint scheme with yellow and blue, but also Lee's use of military modeling techniques and pretty extreme weathering creates the impression of an entirely ludicrous vehicle, but one which could really have existed in the fictional universe of Warhammer. In other words, for me, if Grots really existed, this is how their tanks would look like. My main suggestion for Lee has to do with photography, not modeling. I would advise you to use a white background and powerful yet diffuse lighting when photographing a model like this. Well, Lee, by always trying new techniques and being open-minded enough to alternate between genres as you have done, I believe you're providing a great example for others to follow. So, what's next now? This is Nicholas's third entry in our Community Spotlight, after an Apache helicopter and a Tiger tank. As you can see, Nicholas's tastes are as eclectic as mine, if not more, and everything Nicholas and I have in common is our love for everything Star Wars, and there are few Star Wars vehicles more iconic than the X-34 Landspeeder. I watched his work in progress closely in our Discord, and I have to say I've never seen a vehicle painted in so many different colors in quick succession until it was finished. As Nicholas explains, he wanted to portray a sort of space Toyota, a vehicle, and I quote, acquired from a local spaceport and quickly modified and painted for the field. He goes on to explain that one of the things he enjoyed the most was what I call mechanical weathering, and that for him it was very enjoyable, I quote, to scrape off paint in multiple levels, in this case blue to chrome to red primer. As bold as his experimentation with different paints and colors was, there was definitely a method to the madness here. Nicholas explains that at each milestone I actually had a plan. I got to evaluate and make adjustments as needed. My favorite aspect in this build is how well it conveys that idea of the Toyota technical in space, a beat-up, dirty, rugged Toyota. The one recommendation I would have for Niklas is to add some color modulation next time. Now, it could be the pictures, which also need some better lighting, but the tone seems a bit too dark or muted overall. I'm really looking forward to seeing more Star Wars vehicles from you, Niklas. Keep it up! This is Stefan's 4th Community Spotlight entry after a Rhino APC, a Black Shields character, and a World War I Mark IV tank. Like Niklas and Lee, Stefan is one of my oldest Patreon supporters, and another one who has succumbed to my corrupting influence and begun to work on scale models as well as wargaming ones. And speaking of scale models, the first thing that we can see when looking at this awesome Vorax is how Stefan has adopted a key technique from World War II military modeling, namely the famous winter whitewash. Stefan explains that this was his first time doing a whitewash, ironically. All the more impressive, and that he wanted to make sure that the end result wasn't too dull by adding touches like the rust, the bloodstains, or the glowing blue lenses. In order to achieve a good overall effect with the whitewash, Stefan used a combination of ammo washable white paint and regular white paint with the hairspray chipping technique, same as I had done myself with a lemon rust tank about a year ago. To my mind, the results are not only very fitting, but also reminiscent of Maschinenkriger models, which I suspect may have been the inspiration behind this project. The aspect that Stefan enjoyed the most was the basing. He explains, and I quote, that working without restraint and getting great results was his #1 joy. Well, for me, the best thing about this project is just how original it is. I've never seen Mechanicum Battle-Automata with a winter whitewash before, and the effect is really amazing. My only suggestion would be to try blood splatter next time with Tamiya Clear Red projected onto the model with the airbrush. So, what's your next entry going to be, Stefan? Scale model or Warhammer next time? So guys, I hope you have enjoyed tonight's Spotlight. This happens to be my 69th video since I started the channel back in May 2020. And although I am proud of course of the channel's growth and my own growth as a hobbyist since then, what I'm proudest of by far is the vibrant community that we have created together. In my opinion, our monthly Spotlight videos are a prime example of that. As always, I would like to thank all of my Patreon followers whose support helps me keep improving my video gear and getting new models and products to test. If you too would like to join a vibrant community of fellow weathering enthusiasts and get involved in the content that I make, have a look at my Patreon page. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.